Imagine a country made of 17,000 islands, stretched across 3 time zones, straddling the equator, where over 700 different languages are still spoken. That country exists. It is called Indonesia. Welcome. This is the first episode of Cultures of the World, a series of friendly, careful portraits of how people live, eat, speak, and celebrate across our planet. We are going to begin in one of the largest and most beautifully complicated countries on Earth. Indonesia is the 4th most populous nation in the world, more than 270 million people. But because it is so spread out, on so many islands, many people in the West have never really gotten to know it. So let's begin with the basics. Indonesia is a long, sprawling chain of islands in Southeast Asia, sitting between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. To the north, Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines. To the south, across a narrow sea, is Australia. Indonesia covers so much east to west distance that the country has 3 time zones. When the sun is rising over Papua in the east, it is still the middle of the night in Sumatra in the west. Some of those islands are huge: Sumatra, Java, the Indonesian half of Borneo, called Kalimantan, then Sulawesi, then Papua. Each one is a world unto itself, with its own landscapes, its own peoples, its own languages and traditions. And then there are thousands of smaller islands, volcanic islands, reef islands, tiny dots of coral barely above the waves. Out of all of them, the most populous by far is Java. Java is a beautiful island in the middle of the chain. It holds only about 7% of Indonesia's land, but it carries more than half of the country's people, over 140 million human beings, on one island. Java contains the capital, Jakarta, a megacity of more than 10 million, and nearby is Yogyakarta, the cultural and royal heart of Javanese arts. Java is also home to some of the world's most active volcanoes, and that brings us to a remarkable thing about Indonesia. The country sits right on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Indonesia has more than 130 active volcanoes, more than any other nation on Earth. People have lived in their shadow for thousands of years. Famous volcanoes, Krakatoa, Merapi, have erupted with planet-changing force. And yet, the volcanic soil is some of the richest farmland in the world. On Java, in the right places, farmers can grow 3 full crops of rice per year on the same field. The land tries to bury them. The land also feeds them. That is a tension Indonesians have learned to live inside of for a very long time. Now, the language. There is no single Indonesian language. There are over 700. Each island, often each region, has its own. Javanese, Sundanese, Balinese, Madurese, Acehnese, Batak, hundreds more. So when Indonesia became a modern country in the 20th century, it needed a common language, something everyone could speak with everyone else. They chose a language called Bahasa Indonesia. Bahasa means language, so Bahasa Indonesia is, literally, the Indonesian language. It is based on a form of Malay that traders had been using around the islands for hundreds of years, a kind of neutral, simple, useful trade tongue, almost nobody's mother tongue, which is exactly what made it a good choice. No single group got promoted. Everyone had to learn it equally. And Bahasa Indonesia is, I have to say, a delightful language to begin with. It uses the Latin alphabet, the same one English uses. It has only 5 vowel sounds. There are no tones to learn the way there are in Mandarin or Vietnamese. And the grammar is gentle, no verb conjugations, no tenses to memorize. To say I eat, I ate, I will eat, the verb stays the same. You just add a small time word. The language is forgiving. So let me teach you a few phrases, just a handful. Enough that, if you were ever to walk into a warm Jakarta morning, you could greet someone. The first one, good morning, in Bahasa Indonesia, Selamat pagi. Listen again, Selamat pagi. Selamat is a kind of safe and well wish. Pagi means morning, together, Selamat pagi. Now, thank you, this one is easy and you will use it often. Terima kasih. Terima kasih. It literally means to receive love. Isn't that lovely? Saying thank you in Indonesian is, technically, telling the other person that you have received their kindness. When someone says terima kasih to you, the response is equally beautiful. Sama-sama, sama-sama. Same to you, that is, the kindness goes both ways. Sama-sama. Two more how are you? Apa kabar, literally, what news? And the standard polite reply is baik-baik saya, baik-baik saya, just fine, just fine. And one last phrase, because food is so much of Indonesia. Before a meal, the host will smile at you and say, Selamat makan. Selamat makan, eat well, enjoy your food. It is the Indonesian equivalent of bon appetit. That brings us perfectly to one of my favorite parts of any culture, the food. In Indonesia, the absolute center of any meal is rice. Rice is so central that the everyday word for to eat, makan, and the casual word for to eat rice are nearly the same. A meal without rice is, to many Indonesians, not really a meal, just a snack. Around the rice you find everything else. Maybe nasi goreng, fried rice cooked with sweet soy sauce, often served with a fried egg on top and crispy shallots. Maybe sate, small skewers of grilled chicken or beef, in a rich peanut sauce. Maybe egado, a salad of steamed vegetables, boiled egg, tofu, and a thick peanut dressing. Maybe rendang, a slow-cooked, dry, deeply spiced beef dish from West Sumatra that some food writers consider one of the greatest dishes in the world. And always, somewhere on the plate is sambal. Sambal is the catch-all word for Indonesia's astonishing collection of chili pastes and sauces. There are hundreds of regional kinds, some sweet, some smoky, some so hot they will rearrange your face. Most Indonesians grew up with a particular sambal their grandmother made, and they can describe it the way you might describe a song from your childhood. Now, religion and culture. This is where Indonesia gets especially fascinating. The country is officially a secular republic, but it constitutionally recognizes 6 religions: Islam, Protestant Christianity, Catholic Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Indonesia has, by far, the largest Muslim population in the world. About 87% of Indonesians are Muslim, which is roughly 230 million people. And this is the beautiful contradiction. The neighboring island of Bali is majority Hindu. A small Hindu kingdom that survived inside the larger Muslim archipelago, with its own temples, its own ceremonies, its own small daily offerings of flowers placed in doorways and on dashboards. And throughout the country, you will find ancient animist traditions, beliefs in spirits of mountains and rivers, of trees, of ancestors, woven into both the Muslim and the Hindu practices. The result is uniquely Indonesian, layered, generous, gently mixed. Which is why the official national motto, written in Old Javanese on the seal of the country, is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity, different, and one. There is so much more we have not touched. The intricate wax and dye fabric called batik, which UNESCO calls a masterpiece of human heritage. The orchestras of bronze gongs and metallophones called gamelan, which sound like nothing else on earth. The 1,000-year-old shadow puppet theater called wayang, which can run an entire night and tell the great Indian epics, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, in Javanese voices. The wood and iron ceremonial blade called the kais, often considered a living thing in its own right. The dance traditions of Bali, the textiles of Sumba, the funeral architecture of the Toraja Highlands, where houses are built to look like the prow of a ship. This was the smallest opening door, a first glimpse. Indonesia rewards every minute you give it. Next time, we will travel somewhere very different, to another country, another set of languages, another set of foods, and we will bring the same curiosity with us. Until then, if you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, unity in diversity. It is not only Indonesia's motto, it is, in many ways, the world's. Sampai jumpa, goodbye for now.